Why is it so easy to scroll through social media, overeat, and binge watch Netflix, even when you know you should be doing something else? What if your brain has been wired to crave the wrong things? And what if you could rewire your brain to crave hard work and instantly enter a state of hyperfocus? I've worked with thousands of entrepreneurs and high achievers in business, behavior, and goal achievement, and have discovered a little-known hack to hyperfocus. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to instantly rewire your brain to make hard work feel good so you can enter a flow state on demand. You've probably heard that dopamine is the feel-good chemical in your brain, right? But what if I told you this isn't the full story? Dopamine isn't just about pleasure, it's about motivation. To really understand how this works, we need to look at how it helped our ancestors survive. Back then, we had no other choice but to do hard things like hunting, foraging for food, building shelter, lighting fires, because this was the only way to survive. And it was dopamine that gave us the motivation to do these things. Dopamine would slowly increase in our brain as we searched for food, and then we built fire, and then increased even further once we succeeded. So this was giving us a sense of reward. This feeling is what kept motivating us to take on these hard things over and over again. So to get this increase in dopamine in the past, we had to work hard, we had to earn the dopamine. But that's not how dopamine works in our brain today. In the modern world, we've learned how to hijack the chemical and shortcut the entire process. We can just reach for our phone and play video games or eat junk food and get this quick fix of dopamine. And it's backfiring. And the data is terrifying. When we look at survey results on phone use, for example, 46% of young people said they'd rather have a broken bone than a broken phone. Just under 50% would work an extra day a week just to keep their phone. And 55% would quit going out to dinner for a whole year if it meant not saying goodbye to their beloved device. This is scary. One of my clients, let's call her Sarah, she came to me feeling really stuck in her business. She had big goals of launching her first group coaching program, growing her audience, creating content consistently. But every time she sat down to do work, she'd tell me, I want to do it, I plan to do it, but I don't know what happened. The day just slips away from me. And so I started asking more questions about this. What's the first thing you do when you wake up? And she paused and said, I guess grab my phone and open it up. I said, okay, then what? She said, well, I scroll for a little bit. Maybe I check my emails on there. Maybe I go on Instagram for a little bit. And that's when I asked her to start tracking it. Just count how many times you unlock your phone in a single day. The next day, she messaged me completely stunned, said 137 times. That's more than once every 10 minutes. And that was the moment it finally clicked for her. She wasn't lazy. She wasn't unmotivated. Her brain had just become conditioned to seek easy, fast rewards. That dopamine loop wasn't just stealing her time, it was rewiring her attention and keeping her stuck in the loop of overthinking and under-executing. So once we fixed that, everything got easier. And using your phone is just one of the many ways that we get access to these cheap spikes of dopamine. And you might not think it's happening that often, but the data says we unlock our phone 150 times each day on average. 150 times. That's a lot. And the more you indulge in these quick fixes, activities, the more your brain becomes wired to crave something easy over something hard. Let me show you why this is the problem. So if this is what happens when we earn an increase in dopamine through hard work, like hunting for food in the past, or nowadays doing something like reading and focusing or working out in the gym, we call this slow dopamine. This is what a quick fix looks like, and we call this fast dopamine. That sudden spike in dopamine is what makes scrolling on your phone, eating junk food, or gaming feel so addictive. But the scary part isn't the spike, it's what happens after the spike. Our brains like balance. Scientists call this homeostasis. So when dopamine increases quickly, it has to drop just as fast to keep things level. But the problem is that dopamine doesn't just fall back to baseline or your normal level. Instead, it crashes below your baseline. And you've probably felt this before. After scrolling, sometimes for hours and hours through Instagram and TikTok videos, you start to feel lazy, sluggish, unmotivated. Doing anything else that requires even the smallest bit of effort feels impossible. And just like with drugs, the more you rely on fast dopamine, the more your brain adapts to that. And you become less sensitive to dopamine, which means you need even more to feel that sense of real pleasure. This is what's called tolerance. Eventually, everyday activities that used to make you feel good, like listening to a podcast or walking in nature or cooking a wholesome meal, start to feel incredibly boring because your brain's reward system is completely out of balance. You're in what Dr. Anna Lembke, who's a dopamine expert, calls a dopamine deficit state. And at this point, you're probably thinking the solution is obvious. I just need to do a dopamine detox. But let me show you why that's not the simple fix that everyone online likes to make it out to be. You've probably seen all of those dopamine detox videos all over YouTube and social media. And the idea is simple. If you're addicted to something like social media, gaming, or junk food, you stop doing it completely. But there's a few big problems with this. Number one, you can't detox from dopamine. Dopamine is an essential brain chemical, meaning you can't live without it. And even though we focus just on the reward and the motivation in this particular video, understand dopamine has loads of other functions in the brain, even the rest of our entire body too. So if we just remove dopamine from our system, we'd be in serious trouble. Number two, detoxing has been taken to an extreme. People have chosen to avoid literally anything that makes them feel good, like listening to music, eating good food, even making eye contact with other people. This isn't the point of a dopamine detox. The goal isn't to eliminate pleasure altogether, okay? And number three, total abstinence is just unrealistic. If I asked you to give up your phone, even for a day or a week, you'd probably find it really hard. And going cold turkey can often just make the whole situation worse because you end up feeling frustrated and you end up binging later. So the cycle is going to begin all over again. So what is the solution? How do we truly rewire our brains, not to avoid dopamine, but to reset our dopamine levels back to normal, resensitize our brain, and start craving the right kinds of rewards? I'm going to reveal 3 powerful tools that can instantly help. Tool number 1, build barriers. Now, the sad reality is that if you want to rewire your brain, you can't rely on willpower alone, especially when your phone, snacks, the internet are just right there. But you do need to find ways to do less of the things that give you big instant spikes of dopamine. That's why Dr. Anna Lembke recommends creating barriers, little bits of friction between you and those dopamine hits. And she breaks them down into 3 types. Chronological barriers. Okay, these are time limits. You need to restrict certain activities to specific windows of time in your day or your week. So for example, you might only scroll on TikTok between 5 and 6 p.m. or only play video games on the weekends. Number 2, geographical barriers. These are location limits. Don't keep snacks in your house. Leave your phone in the other room while you work. Or don't take your iPad into your bed. Then number 3 is categorical barriers. These are type limits. This is about limiting what kinds of things you allow into your life rather than how much of them. So for example, you might let yourself watch educational YouTube videos but cut out short form content like TikToks or Instagram Reels because those are more likely to suck you into a dopamine spiral. So feel free to leave a comment down below letting me know which one of these barriers you're going to try, and I'll reply to all of you. Tool number 2. Pain before pleasure. In her book, Dopamine Nation, Dr. Anna Lembke also talks about something called the pleasure-pain balance. What's really cool is that in the brain, the regions that process pleasure and pain are actually overlapping and they kind of work in a seesaw. So when we do something hard or uncomfortable like going for a run or lifting weights or even taking a cold shower, that seesaw tips towards pain. So to restore balance and make the seesaw level again, your brain compensates by releasing dopamine. And that's why you often feel amazing after doing something difficult, like going for a run. You've earned the reward and the pleasure feels deeper and lasts longer. A while back, I challenged myself to take cold showers every morning for a week. Not the gentle, lukewarm kind either. I'm talking about ice cold, the kind that makes you question your life and all of your life decisions. And day 1 was absolute torture. I stood there staring at the faucet like it had betrayed me. My brain was screaming, no, we don't want to do this, just skip today. But I stepped in anyway. I lasted for maybe 15 seconds before jumping out. I was shivering, I was annoyed, and I was wondering why on earth people choose to do this. And then day 2, same story, but I pushed through. Then something strange happened on day 3. I got out of the shower and I felt sharp, like my brain had gone from dial up into fiber optic. I sat down at my desk, opened my laptop, and words just started pouring out. No distractions, no resistance, it felt easy. And that's when it clicked that 60 seconds of discomfort in the shower had flipped some kind of mental switch. It was like I had trained my brain, hey, we do hard things first. And that little ritual of choosing discomfort first thing in the morning rewired how I showed up for the rest of the day. And it taught me something powerful. When you earn your dopamine through a challenge, that reward lasts longer. It's deeper. You don't need a scroll break or a snack just to get started for the day. Your focus is already switched on. So now I'm not saying you need to start taking cold showers every day. I don't even do that. It's not about the cold water. It's about the message you send to your brain when you challenge yourself to do something hard or uncomfortable. Your brain begins to believe, hey, we do hard things and we feel good because of it. So if you want to rewire your brain, you need to pay for pleasure up front with some level of pain, or simply put, hard work. And here's a really helpful question to ask yourself throughout the day. Will this activity make me feel good right now or afterwards? If the answer is right now, you'll probably feel a quick dopamine hit that'll leave you feeling worse later. But if it's going to make you feel good afterwards, then it's probably something worthwhile doing. Tool number 3. Action bias. And this might be the most important tool of them all. Action bias is about starting your day by taking action immediately. Because if you get up and do something hard right away, like making the bed, having a shower, or cooking breakfast, you're giving your brain a slow, healthy rise in dopamine. But if the first thing you do is scroll on your phone, you're triggering those instant dopamine spikes and crashes. And that crash, as we know, is what makes you feel sluggish and unmotivated afterwards. So of course you're not going to want to work or go for a run or even engage with the people around you later in the day. You can even apply this action bias throughout your whole day. In breaks, in quiet moments, choose action over passive stimulation. So instead of reaching for your phone or raiding the snack cupboard for sweets and chocolate, try reading a few pages of a book, going for a walk, or listening to a podcast. It's a small shift, but over time, it completely rewires your brain's relationship with hard work and reward. If you found this video useful, you'll probably also enjoy this one I made about how to rewire your brain to crave wealth. Because trust me, you've probably seen and been told a whole lot of lies that are just keeping you poor and stuck and in the rat race. I'll see you on the next one.